Hello, this is Brian Simonson. This is the first video for our building our demo project from scratch. This will be a kind of a slow build, going through each element and understanding, how all of the elements of the report writer work. So to do this, we're going to take the demo that you see in the quick start guide, blank it all out, start from scratch, and kind of really build the project up as if you were just assigned this task from a client or supervisor, and you're given a Word document, and we're going to build that model, this report writer. So let's start out, and this first video will deal mostly with just the basic setup and the main pages that drive the ship. And then in following videos, we'll get into how to do tables and charts and all that fun stuff. So let's begin with the setup of the project. The project would be a client, for example, comes to you, and they know exactly what they want, or your boss knows exactly what they want, and they give you this document. I basically have kind of mocked up what you saw in the demo if you did the quick start guide. And what you see here is a quick little 2-page document, and they're thinking there's a company report, and they know there's going to be a bunch of companies, so they give this document, and you say, okay, this is a company report, 2018, Company A, and there's a few things that they want to be able to happen. They say, there's going to be a lot of companies. The reports might happen over time, so this is 2018 this year, but in future years, we want this to maybe be dynamic by the year. Let's go ahead and, there's a table of contents here. You keep going down, and then you'll see kind of a shell. They have a basic idea of what they want. They want to, for example, in this first section, they want a sentence that says the following table shows the ages for a certain number of employees, XX. They don't know what the number is. A certain number of employees at Company A. However many companies are at Company A. And then there's a table, and they want a table that's just the number of employees by age, right? Maybe they give you a mock-up in Excel of what that is, right? So here it is, but and then there's a figure, and they want a bar chart here, which is the number of employees by age. Then there's another figure, number of employees by gender, and here's, they give you a nice little flow of what it should look like, and it's already formatted. What's lacking is the data, the numbers, the charts, but in terms of style, format, the client dictates that, right? So that work's been done by them. That's the beauty. You want to work within this document, right? So we're going to, fix this to be automated, to be able to pull in those numbers that right now just have XX on them, right? And we're going to be able to change the company ID that company specific report. In addition, I think the other major one is that I think I said that we want to let it loop across time for different year reports, perhaps. And that sets the stage. That's the project. So, what's next? The other thing they're going to give you are results. I'm going to open up this results folder. This is the same results folder. Now, the client wouldn't do this. You, from that document, know exactly what you need to get the job done, and maybe you did it, or you tasked a programmer to come up with certain statistics. There are, for example, only 2 companies, Company A and Company B, but there could be hundreds, right? And we saw in that figure there was basically a table and 2 figures. So we are going to, you basically have to spec out what you want, and I'm just going to open up this file, like table 1. It was just to be count, I believe, of employees by age. And that's what's right here, right? So we have this is the file, the data that is necessary to produce table 1. And we'll see the other examples of data. And that's just for Company A. Notice that you spec'd it out in a way to ask the programmer to have kind of a prefix to be able to, differentiate Company A and Company B, obviously. There should be some logic. And, in Excel, we'll be able to, leverage that, each, table 1 is here, but, it's differentiated by Company A and Company B. So the second piece of this puzzle was having a programmer produce these reports, company-specific items that will be used for this project. All right, next. The report writer, finally. This is a blank shell. I took what you saw in the demo and just pretty much deleted most everything. I never delete everything because you kind of want some stuff to stick around just to help you not reinvent the wheel. Let's go ahead and open that up. And I think this is we're going to go through one of the first major tab here, and then you can watch the following videos as we go from tab to tab. All right. So when we open this up, there are the first couple tabs we'll go into. First, there's a welcome tab, by the way, that I rarely look at, but it basically, in case you're wondering, it has an explanation of what each of these major tabs are. And we will talk about the current parameters tab, which is really like kind of the brain, really helps join this template that we're going to build and the data together, and as well as different options of the report writer. So first few fields that we'll go into is we start with the report template path. Well, that is where the skeleton document that we're going to build will lie. We're going to put that document, which doesn't yet exist, by the way. We have this shell that the client sent us, right? But that's not really, there's no magic to that. We need to create a report writer skeleton. And we will do it, but we'll place it right here. So we're going to go ahead and copy that pathway. And everything's going to be part of this path. All right, so come here. Oh, sorry, my Excel acts a little crazy here. Give it a second, sorry. There we go. So once I put that in there, there is some, Excel magic going on. As you can see, a lot of other things just magically got populated. Here, we're saying the name of the file is going to be demo project 1 template docx, right? We can call that whatever we want. So we're going to have to create a template document. What is a template document? Well, I'm saying we're going to modify this thing to be a template document, okay? So I'm going to take a copy of this. I'm going to paste it. And let's just call it something else, because that's a really terrible name of a document right there, right? And I'll come up with a different name. We'll call it example project. Now here's the key, _template. This is a must. This is how it knows that this is the template document. It is going, there's a lot of reasons for it, but we need to specify that the template document must have _template. You can't just say point to a document that's your template document. It's a requirement of the report writer, just to keep things clear. So there you go. That's going to be our name of our template document. I'm just going to grab, I had it right there. I'm going to grab that name so I don't mess it up. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to change so this is a different name than was there before. And there you go. That's our project template document. Next, we need to tell it where we want the final reports to go. Good idea, right? So we're going to say put it into a subfolder. Notice it's just a little Excel magic up here, a little concatenation, and put it into the final reports folder. You can put this wherever you want, but it doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to go ahead and create a final reports folder. Uh-oh, spelling, sorry. All right. So that's where we're going to put all our final documents. Let's go back. Current report ID. Good question. What does that mean? We are going to have some key ID that loops through, all these reports in many cases. And so you may or may not need this, right? In this case, you do, right? Because you're going to loop through, and we talked about company A, company B, Z, C, D, E, F, G. You don't need this, but it'll become apparent when and when not to use this. If you are doing sometimes you have a project that doesn't loop through many entities, many different reports you're creating. But in this case we do. So we're gonna set it up just to do company A right now. right? That's the name of it, company A. And we know that all of our data we saw in those results file have A in it, right? A and B. That's the unique identifier. So we're going to be able to build from that. Now, there are other options. We'll talk about continue with the current parameters here. We won't get into them so much right now. But for now, there's something called smart sections. Smart sections are basically sections of the report you want to cut out because there is no data for it and it doesn't make sense to have in. It is a little tricky, so we're going to start without that. We're going to turn it off for now. Okay? Headers and footers, that you want automatic headers and footers to be produced. Again, if you're not going to do headers and footers, turn it off. If you're going to populate with headers and footers, you turn it on. If you don't have headers and footers functionality built in and you leave it on, your report writer will crash. Auto import the data files. What does that mean? That means when you run the report, we're going to set up an import mechanism. You want to import data before you make the report. You may or may not want to do this sometimes. Most of the time when you're looping through reports, you must. You need to import company A data and then run the report. Then import company B and then run report B. But you may, if you have one report you're creating and maybe you don't import data, maybe you import data one time and you do some Excel modeling or some cool stuff, but the project really isn't about importing data at the time of report production. You could turn this off. For this report, we will be looping through different companies and making reports, so it makes sense to keep it on. Next, 508 compliant charts. And I don't believe that it has to do with compliant tables. I think we have 508 compliant tables always on. And most of the time, I would imagine you want 508 compliant charts on as well. Report format. You can pick Word or PDF. I believe I also have, there's a doc, an old version of docs if you really want that. Table of contents, update. Do you want it to update the table of contents, right? You may or may not have a table of contents you want updated. Your report may not have a table of contents, period, right? If you do have a table of contents and you want it updated, we're going to turn it on. We do have one. Next, report title suffix. So sometimes, depending on your project, we have found that you might want to differentiate further what is the name of the report file. So if you wanted to put some other statement like a date or something on the very back end of the name of this file that further describes when that report was made or some esoteric function. It's just another thing to help differentiate the file names that are being exported when the report writer is made. Okay. Now, that is the current parameters page. We are basically technically up and running at this point. We don't have any report we can run. We have to work our way through a few extra tabs to get where we need to go. It won't take too long, but we'll leave that for the next video. Very good. Thank you.